Brian, John with Liquid Evolution Pools in Scottsdale. We've got a really neat project coming up, man. It's on the side of Camelback Mountain in Paradise Valley. And the homeowner wants Oceanside bronze iridescent on the outside of the weir wall. We'd love it if you wouldn't mind coming out and being part of the install.
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic opportunity, and I would love to do it.
Hey everyone, this is Brian Fitzgerald with Oceanside Glass Tile. Today I am on a spectacular job site with Liquid Evolution Pools, where we're going to show you how to install our Muse 7/8 by 7/8 bronze iridescent tile the right way. So an often overlooked part of working on an outdoor project, particularly pools, is site protection. It's the environment. We happen to be working today in Arizona in November, and it is absolutely beautiful out here. It's perfect weather for working. Where the guys are installing tiles, mainly shaded, so we don't worry about it today. But if you're in an area that freezes, gets a lot of rain, those types of things, thinking about how you're going to protect the tile both during the installation and the curing phases is going to be an important part of your installation. In every step of this process, the various materials we're utilizing are going to have cure times that the manufacturer specifies before you go on to the next step. And it is super critical that you adhere to those cure times. So the layers of waterproofing, get to your thin set and your grout, and then at that stage, your cure times can range anywhere from generally 14 up to 28 days before you're going to fill the pool with water. And if you do that too soon, you're going to seriously degrade those materials and you can have some real problems. Movement joints can be a controversial topic, and advice on the subject will range dramatically depending on who you talk to. But here's the deal. Glass expands and contracts more than ceramic or porcelain, and giving it somewhere to go with a movement joint is absolutely critical, particularly above the water line where you have environmental conditions that range widely. We're here in Arizona. It gets hot during the day, it gets cold at night. So on this negative edge, we're going to be installing movement joints about every 8 feet. We're going to be using bond breaker tape and Lattisil 100% silicone sealant over the top of that to get a properly detailed high performance installation, and this weir wall is going to last a very long time. While everything we're going to cover in this video is important, ultimately what the performance of your tile installation in your pool comes down to is going to be the installation system. And what do I mean by the system? I mean all the materials you utilize from the concrete tank outward. This includes a primary waterproofing that goes on the tank, a bonded mortar bed, a secondary waterproofing that goes over the mortar bed, and then your installation materials, your thin set, grout, and sealants that you use with the tile installation. So at Oceanside Glass Tile, we provide full pool tile installation instructions. These are available on our website at glasstile.com, and this includes a full list of materials that we recommend for each layer within that system. On this particular project, Liquid Evolution Pools is utilizing some Basecrete product waterproofings for their primary and secondary waterproofing, and all Latticrete installation materials, but it's all from the list within our instructions. So for example, the primary waterproofing that goes on the concrete tank, it prevents both negative and positive hydrostatic pressure. That's just fancy words for water moving back and forth through the concrete, which can create a lot of problems. It can cause problems with tile debonding and blowing off the face of a negative edge wall like this. It can cause problems with efflorescence, which is the white stuff that comes pouring out of the grout joints, which a lot of people see. Each one of these materials in the full system provides critical protection and performance in the installation. So it's super important that you utilize the right products. Go check out the instructions and see the list. The tile we're using here today is Oceanside Glass Tile's Muse 7/8 by 7/8 bronze iridescent tile. Now this product is paper face mounted, which means it's mounted into a sheet like this using paper with a water soluble glue on the front of the tile. So when you look at it out of the box, this is actually the back of the tile. Now this is preferable in a submerged application because you're not dealing with mesh and glue that can be of questionable quality and can break down in a water environment. So you're getting 100% bond to the back of the tile, which is awesome. The nuance to it though is that it's mounted from the front with this paper, which not all installers are familiar with, but it's a very basic, easy process to install it, and there's some pretty simple steps to it. So the first thing you're gonna do is take your 3/16 by 1/4 inch V-notch trowel, and you're gonna use the flat side of that trowel to apply a little bit of mortar to the wall, and you're gonna really key it into the substrate. Press it in, smooth it out, just a really tight coat to just start your application process. The next, you're gonna use the notch side of the trowel, and you're gonna pull nice full notches in one direction. And it's key here to keep contact with the substrate, keep nice consistent angle on the trowel, and pull through in one direction, nice clean full notches. Next, you're gonna clean off your flat side of the trowel, and and you're just gonna lightly roll those notches over to get a nice, smooth, even, consistent mortar bed. Now this is really important if you're working with a translucent tile. We happen to be working with a tile today that you can't see through, but some of our products you can. If you don't flatten those notches and do that step, you're gonna end up seeing those trowel marks through the tile, be incredibly unsightly, can actually be a place where you can get mold and mildew growth as well down the road. Once you have a nice smooth bed of mortar, that tile sheet's gonna get placed into the mortar paper side out. Once it's in place and just lightly pressed in, you're gonna use a beating block and a hammer to tap it in. Super critical to get a flat installation, work from sheet to sheet, across the tile, make sure it's really well bedded into the tile. After that's been in place for about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the weather and the mortar you're using, you're gonna start wetting the paper with a damp sponge. After about 7 minutes of keeping that paper wet, the glue's gonna release and you're gonna be able to pull that paper off the face of the tile and expose the tile for the first time. Now at this point, if you've done it correctly, the mortar should still be flexible enough that you can make adjustments, and that's really what separates a decent installation from a great installation, is making those fine adjustments, particularly paying attention to the sheet lines, making adjustments between sheets, and unifying the overall mosaic pattern. So once you've made all your adjustments, you get a nice uniform installation, you're gonna wanna set that up generally 24 hours, at which point you can come back and clean off the residual glue from the mounting paper just using a little bit of water and a nylon scrub brush. It's a water-based glue, it comes off really easily. Give it a little scrubbing, clean, rinse, towel dry, and you're ready to put in the grout. Once you've got your grout installed, your movement joints detailed, everything cleaned up, most installers would think they're done. And in a lot of cases, they're right. But if you wanted to be proactive and really protect your installation, you can go the next step, set yourself apart. First, I'd highly recommend you seal the grout with Ocean Care Products High Performance Penetrating Sealant. With a cement-based grout, sealing the grout's really gonna help prolong the life of the grout, keep that color locked in, and prevent staining. Next, I'd highly recommend applying Ocean Care Products Glass and Tile Shield. Now that's a surface protectant that's gonna keep calcium from sticking to the tile and keep the tile cleaner longer. And then lastly, I'd highly recommend getting your customers some Ocean Care Products Calcium Releaser, which is a non-acidic cleaner, which is super critical when dealing with an iridescent glass tile like this. Iridizing is a really thin layer of metal that's fused into the glass, and those metals can be susceptible from damage from acids, particularly strong acids like muriatic or hydrofluoric. So Ocean Care Products Calcium Releaser is non-acidic, highly effective, and safe for glass tile. Not to mention it's non-toxic and, environmentally friendly. So go check it out.